Hey there guys, in today's video we're going to be going over this dual M4 mounted airsoft turret that I made. Throughout the video I'm going to show you guys the parts that make this up, how I put them together, as well as some of the upgrades that I plan on doing to it in the future. And of course we're going to shoot it some more, because I can't in good conscience make an airsoft turret video and not have some fun with it. So I guess we'll start off with the two main pieces of hardware that make this kit possible. These are Lancer Tactical M4 RIS rifles, airsoft versions of course, and they have 5,000 round drum magazines that clip up into them. These ones don't fit particularly well on the Lancer Tacticals, so I have tie downs to keep them held on. These magazines fit fine on my JG M4, but they're just not designed for the Lancer Tactical one, so I have to have this system here to help them in place. And if ever these aren't feeding correctly into Lancer Tactical M4s, I can always use the standard capacity magazines, but that's 300 rounds versus 5,000 if these are working correctly. And then of course 10,000 if we count both magazines. Now the next step after getting that gear is of course, how am I going to get these together? So I took a wooden dowel and screwed two RIS rails into either end of it, and then had weaver to weaver rail mounts to mount that rail to the rails on each rifle. And at this point we have a solid mount between the front parts, but then the rest of the gun is kind of wobbly, so we make this little sandwich of two boards. So I drilled a hole big enough for this bolt to go through on the top board and then sunk it into the bottom board here. We also have a washer on top to help kind of keep the bolt in place and cover the hole so that the bolt didn't slip through, because I drilled it a little bit too big. But then I basically just took a ratchet and held the bottom board in place while I tightened this. So now we have a solid system. They're not going to go anywhere, but how do we mount it to a swivel? So first off, how do we get a swivel in the first place? So this is a cartwheel that I took the wheel off, so now I have an axle and a pivot mount. But now I need to get the gun platform onto the swivel. The first step was to take two hose clamps, I think that's what these are, and screwed them into this board. I was then able to loosen them just enough to get the axle through, and then I could clamp it on the other side with this bolt. Now I just need a platform to mount it on, so I took this wider board, put two bolts into it with washers to help secure them in place because they weren't necessarily the right size bolts. I've chosen to put it on a relatively small board so I can just pretty much nail or screw this into other boards. I'm going to recommend screws because of what you'll see here. Whoops. But for the purpose of this video, I just put some more nails in. It's holding up fine now. That's about everything that went into making this system that you see here. I can also make it GoPro ready pretty easily. I just have to take a couple GoPro accessories and then take off a carrying handle here to mount it. In the future I might try and put a rail here so I can mount the GoPro in the middle, because right now it's kind of off to one side. It still works okay, as you'll see in the video. In addition to that, I might also paint the wood parts black just so they kind of fit the theme of the turret. I guess we can talk about some of the stuff that I plan to do with this in the future. It would be great to make a portable version of this. I don't think it would be too hard. I just have to make sure it's really secure and that everything feeds properly. That'd be really cool, I think, to have just kind of like a walking tank build. An idea I've also toyed around with is putting another gun in the middle here, because why not more firepower, you know? And I think a triple M4 mounted turret is very foreseeable. I can use the weaver to weaver rail mounts to put a gun in the middle. The reason I wasn't able to sandwich these two directed together is because of the crane stocks and I can't take them off. When I tried that with these two guns, it ended up pointing the barrels so close together that they were like cross-eyed basically, and the BBs would like go past each other, so I didn't want that happening. I wanted them going to the same place. The nice thing about my third M4 though is it's a JG SR16 and it's just really flat. It doesn't have a crane stock, it's just like a fixed one, so these can be pressed right up against each other. Barrels all face the same direction, and I think it would be absolutely awesome. For that model, I'd also have to ditch these 5,000 round capacity mags because they stick out off to the left a lot, but those standard capacity mags just straight down, only the width of the gun or less. And if I get really ambitious in the future and that actually becomes a thing, I could make a portable version. But man, this thing's already heavy, and making a third gun that's full metal, that might be tough. Or at least it'll be a workout for whoever's carrying it. So that's probably enough talk for a little bit. Let's go shoot some stuff. So overall, I think this thing is pretty awesome. I had a great time building it, great time filming all this, but I do want to talk to you guys about some of the disadvantages that I've come across while using it. For one, in this position, it has kind of a limited fire angle, just as far as you can turn it essentially from left all the way to the right. It's about 180, a little bit more, probably like 200, since I can go a little bit farther this way. Now a portable version would fix that field of fire because you can just turn 360 degrees on foot, but in this turret setup, this is what we have to work with. Another disadvantage is it's kind of heavy and bulky. It's harder to transport than just like the two rifles on their own, obviously. The last disadvantage that I can think of is that both these 5,000 round magazines and the standard 300 ones have to be wound to feed the BBs up into it. So if you want to be laying down fire for a long time, you're going to have to pause to wind every once in a while. That might give someone an opportunity to shoot you. You can potentially remedy this by just shooting with one and then the other, but that's no fun. We want to shoot both at the same time. So one of the things I thought we could do is get magazines that are electric. Now realistically, I'm not sure if I'll actually do that, but if you guys want to build something like this, that's something you can keep in mind. If you want something that's going to automatically feed BBs up into it for as long as there's BBs in the mag, that's something you could do. Now if you guys are wondering why I built this, usually my answer is why not. I have a lot of fun doing this, but I saw that a lot of airsoft guns that are like LMGs are a lot more expensive, and why not duplicate the same rate of fire, if not better, with two guns, and then also be able to take these off whenever I want and then have like one for one person, one for one of my friends. So my thinking was basically I could get one M249 that's like $300, or I could get two for a little bit cheaper even, just M4s, and then mount them together, be able to take them off whenever I want. Anyway, I've been talking to you guys for a while, so if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to post those down in the comments below, but I think that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys are new to this channel, you might consider subscribing. I put up videos every Tuesday and Friday lately, and I'm hoping to do more stuff like this in the future. That's about all I've got for you guys today, though. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.